In this part of the training module, you will be learning how to use collaborative group writing in your workshops at Pennyburn. The key concepts we will be focusing on are participation, photographs, questions, and the residents' input. Make sure you listen closely. Collaborative group writing involves various co-authors that each contribute to one overall story. Each person contributes to an overall writing prompt. Prompts could be poems, stories, etc. This is done in a circle at Pennyburn, with all the residents participating. Working together in such a manner allows them to create stronger bonds with one another, as well as to connect to us students more. They may not have had many other opportunities like this throughout their lifetime, so allowing them to be a storyteller themselves can be a new experience. This portion of the workshop is extremely important. The call and response you do with them and all of the work leading up to the collaborative group writing portion will help the residents be fully engaged. During this module, you will learn step by step how to effectively run and work with the collaboration group writing program within your workshop with the residents.
First, once the residents have chosen what picture they want to use based off the menu your group brought, hand out the photos to the residents. Next, help the residents examine the picture closely and in detail. They may notice the little things more, things you might not have even realized while choosing the picture. Those small details are going to be important for the story. After they've examined it, ask the residents questions. There are hundreds of different questions that can help them get involved. For example, what are the names of the people? More examples can be seen on the slide. Make sure the questions are open-ended. Questions should not be able to be answered with a yes or no response. The questions, which will be explained more later on, are the most important part for collaborative group writing. While the residents are answering, make sure to write all of their responses on the easel with their name. Once you have asked the questions and all of the residents have contributed, combine all of the answers to create a poem or story. Make sure you read the overall product to them so they can appreciate it and feel accomplished.
In our program, HPU Lifelines, we use poems and pictures to trigger the imaginations of the residents. The use of these help the residents to brainstorm their own ideas to contribute to the group's overall stories and poems. The work we do with the residents in collaborative group writing workshops helps us to learn more about them personally, as well as get them more active and social. It allows us as the students to learn more about their pasts. The use of the collaborative group writing in HPU Lifelines allows us to connect the residents more, both historically and medically. The use of a new experience in their lives, such as this one, allows for them to learn even more than they may have thought was possible. We are providing a new opportunity for them with collaborative group writing, which they will appreciate for a very long time. On this slide, you can see an example of a group poem created by the residents in the Memory Care Unit of Pennyburn. The image next to it take the residents that use brainstorming to come up with these ideas to create this magnificent poem. In what formation should the residents be seated during a workshop? In a square, in rows, in a circle, or scattered?
Any information that a resident provides is 100% valid. If one person is providing more input than the others, direct the questions towards the residents that are not participating as much. Every resident's opinion must be heard. Also, do not turn down anybody's answer, no matter what the response. Everything must be included with the resident's name next to it. The more information, the better the story will be when it comes to collaborative writing. The more content that is available, the more intriguing the story will be overall. Again, ensure that every resident is participating because you do not want the entire story to be written by one person. It's called collaborative group writing for a reason.
The choice of photographs can make or break a collaborative group writing workshop. Before arriving at Pennyburn, make sure the pictures you choose are appropriate and apparent for the elderly. They should be easy to see and interpret. Timeslips provides the best photos for such a type of writing. Make sure you provide options. There may be times when the residents might not like the picture you brought, but that is why you have multiple pictures to choose from. They should also be easy to invent questions for. The next slide will talk about more questions in detail, but you most definitely need specific questions for each picture you bring. You should have your questions for the collaborative group writing part written before you arrive to present. When arriving for your workshop, allow the residents to choose what photo they want to use out of the ones you brought. You want them to feel as comfortable in the workshop as possible.
Questions are an absolute must in the collaborative group writing workshop. Without them, the amount of participation will be very limited. The collaborative group writing is dependent on the imaginations of the residents. The questions help them to get out of their comfort zone and trigger their creativity. There may be times when the residents just engage in the picture based off of previous experiences, and all you have to do is listen. But questions are still an absolutely important detail. The questions allow you to learn even more about the residents at Pennyburn than you can imagine. We talked previously in this portion about what good examples are of questions, and there will be a chance for you to try it on your own later. Just remember, when you're writing them, yes or no questions will not be beneficial for your collaborative group writing program. Residents are absolutely encouraged to ask their own questions that you are allowed to answer. Your input is just as important as theirs is. And remember, the more questions you provide, the better your workshop will run.
Your group members play just as large a part in the workshop as the residents do. Participation is dire. There should not be one group member answering all the questions while others just sit around and listen. Each of your team members' input is important to the story or poem that you are creating. Your input may also help the residents think even more outside the box. It is important to have one group member sitting with the residents during the collaborative group writing as well. Sometimes you might need to push the residents a little to get a little more response out of them, and it is an important job for the team member that is a part of the audience. Getting down to the residents level will help them feel more comfortable, which will usually lead them to wanting to participate more. So remember, make sure everybody, both residents and your group, are participating.
Examine this picture and use for the next question. Based on the picture in the previous slide, what would the best question be to ask the residents? A, do you like Chinese food? B, do they look happy? C, are their pants red? Or D, where do you think they are?
Now that you understand what a quality question should be, we have provided a picture for you to try yourself. Come up with at least 3 inventive questions that you could ask in a workshop that would spark the residents' imaginations.